everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Magnificence. I, as always, am here as your DM, Chi, as the players and myself have been calling me, aka the Nightmare King, and for good reason. This is the first sort of major boss that our players are fighting, and it is terrifying. I'm very excited to get into it as we resume right in the middle of this combat with this strange creature. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited for everything that's about to happen. I know you guys don't know what's about to happen, but I do, and I'm excited.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Again, big thanks as always to Sarson Games for writing the amazing sourcebook that we use in this game, which provides some of our players with their homebrew subclasses and provides me with a small pantheon of deities to utilize. Please go check out their stuff. They're very amazing, write some very cool books. And let's get right into it without any other hurrah about it. To recap where we've left off. After a short rest in the cellar of the Labyrinth's Rest is concluded, the party is somewhat restless as they think about what to do next. Suda, particularly, ready and eager to leave and continue on her way. But just moments from walking out the door, Caradwyn hears something. Something to give the party pause. A long, calm whistle tone that echoes both in her skull and all around her. But Caradwyn seems to be the only one who can hear it. They know exactly who calls for them. Caradwyn excuses herself to speak with this mysterious ally, easily spotting Olwen as he tries to sneak after them, but lets him follow nonetheless. Caradwyn meets up with none other than Atash Sereth, a hulking, hunched black dragonborn man who waits for her calmly. The two perch atop some dilapidated scaffolding as Atash questions some of the previous events. He does eventually give her useful information that the attack was a stunt pulled by some Reaver's apprentices, and a friend of theirs, a young tiefling boy named Ozit. But before she leaves to report back to the party, he reinforces a strict ideal in her head. They are not your people. I am your people. The Reavers are your people. With the loyalty reinforced, Caradwyn quickly returns to the Labyrinth's Rest, but Olwen remains, where they had been watching the encounter the entire time, and his attention flickers away for just a moment, which was plenty long enough for Atash to descend to the street without a sound or a twitch, staring right back at Olwen. He says nothing, merely takes in his appearance before backing deeper into the alley and disappearing. Discussion with the party leaves them with a plan: go to the docks and find Ozit. He can tell them where his friends are, the ones who created the poison, and likely hold the antidote. The party takes off to the docks, splits up to investigate, and through various methods find Ozit in a sort of small shack that was built onto pre-existing apartments. Through a somewhat messy retrieval, their escape is covered by Kuvos with a quick thinking of a fog cloud, and they escape with the young Ozit in tow. They find refuge, and Mikun questioning him, who gives all of them answers, and a clearer picture is painted. Their next steps are known, and Olwen takes a moment to reinforce hope, anger, whatever it is. Give something to Ozit to think about. Ozit leads the party to the old warehouse where the siblings call home and where the poison was brewed. The party enters, ascends the stairs, and finds the two elven siblings with the strange, mutated rodent creature fighting against its chains. The party has to fling into action as the creature breaks free from its chains, and battle has begun. With that, let's start right where we left off, which is with this rodent creature finishing a blow, throwing its spiked head around, slamming into Suda, dealing not a small amount of damage. The blow is finished, and Suda is left somewhat reeling with the damage taken. And with that, Caradwyn, You are next in the initiative as you see this horrendous creature wield its spiked skull with such ferocity.
Terrifying! I fully forgot where we were in the initiative order when we left off. So, it is my turn. And we're just gonna take another sword swing at this big, scary monster.
Hell yeah. Standing right next to it, you take another swing at it.
21 to hit.
21 absolutely hits.
Ta-da. Let's see. 6. Oh, and because Suda is also within 5 feet, I do get to use sneak attack. Okay.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hell yeah. 14 plus 3. 17 points of damage.
Woo! Baby.
2 6s on those d6s. Hey.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's see. And then I'm going to bonus action my 2-weapon fighting offhand attack with the dagger. I'll roll for that hit. That will miss. That's a 2.
Swinging with deadly precision rather than overwhelming strength, you target exactly where you need to hit it to make it hurt, but it reels back from the pain of the second strike, blowing off your second one before it can land. Amazing. Olwyn, you are up next.
Olwyn is going to dash over here towards the right behind these, I think those are pots. 5, 10,
Yeah,
15,
various debris in the room.
various
You quickly
debris.
cross the room.
He pulls out the same dandelion seeds that he used to cast the spell from last turn. As he digs it into his palm, a little bit of blood forces the roots in the seed to grow as he casts Ensnaring Strike. And I am going to fire an arrow at it.
All right.
That will, I believe that'll miss. That's a 9, and that'll end my turn.
Yeah, that will miss.
That'll end my turn.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. It's definitely less of an agile creature. It just has such bulk of mutated flesh and crystal that the arrow just bounces right off of it. All right, Alina, you are up next.
All right. So I'm going to... I'm kind of tucked behind some boxes near the back of the room. And so I'm going to, first off, just kind of pop my head out to see what's going on. And I'm going to, if I can, for flavor, say I did that in time to see what Carrie did, just
Yeah,
for
of course.
story in a second. And then I'm going to just kind of lock my eyes on the creature and start whispering something under my breath. And I am going to be casting Dissonant Whispers on it. So it needs to make a Wisdom saving throw. Failed save is 3d6 psychic damage, among other things.
It is not the wisest creature.
No, it is not.
It fails badly.
I love it. All right, let me get my 3d6 ready to go here. Come on, baby. Oh, not a great roll. 4 points of damage. But it also must use its reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from me.
Okay, yeah.
Which might give opportunity attacks to folks.
so.
Maybe,
Wonderful.
right?
And just to clarify, it's just moving away.
Yes.
It's not technically the frightened condition, correct?
It is not the frightened condition. It's just it must move, immediately use its reaction to move as far as its speed allows
That
away
is
from you.
very...
Technically, it is charmed by me at the moment.
That is very good specific wording, because that means it does work.
Oh, well, there you go. I guessed it immune to frightened. That's good. Cool. And then with my bonus action, I'll mark that I cast that first off. And then with my bonus action, I'm going to just call out to Carrie, I don't know, something inspiring. I think you've got it. Keep going. You've got a bardic inspiration 1d6.
Yeah, thank you.
Feel strangely empowered by Alina's hesitated words.
It's something about that nobility. She's just kind of summoning her. I am a noble. I am supposed to be a commander of people or whatever. She's just drawing on that kind of energy and just being like,
now since it's using its
Do
own
it.
movement to do that, don't Carrie and Suda get reactions if they want to opportunity attack?
Yes. Does it do so on its turn or immediately? Oh, it's reaction. I see. Yeah, absolutely. So you two both will get opportunity attacks because it is going to instantly try to move away with its full movement, which I believe is just the base 30. Yeah. Okay, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 30. It moves all the way to the back, the very back of the room.
my whispers are just so strong that it just like staggers backwards.
As it moves back, there's still that tether of crackling black energy between us as I fight to maintain it. But I am going to make a slash with my shadow sword there. And with it.
I rolled a 17 to hit on the opportunity attack.
Yeah, that hits.
Perfect. So then we'll do... No, this d6 rolled better last time. And it rolled poorly this time. 5 points of damage.
5 points damage, yeah. The two of you see it reacting viscerally to Alina in some way. It looks her direction and then immediately begins to scrabble backwards. Suda, you strike out with your blade and it ting bounces off of the hardened crystal, and looking over just in time to see Caradwyn duck right underneath your blow to land one of her own, and it's that honestly stings more than when the creature hit you, honestly.
Can I just use like a free action to wink at Suda?
Absolutely. Winking is a free action.
Okay, so I am going to say that in this moment, maybe Carrie expected like a look of challenge or, you know, oh, so that's how it's going to be kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But there is a level of indifference. And yeah, a level of indifference and just not like almost in recognition.
All right, wonderful. Well, following that reaction, it is actually your turn next, Suda.
Wunderbar. Going to maintain that blast, that electrical arc between us, and I automatically hit for 20 points of damage.
Ooh! Yeah, you do. You see it's pretty hurt, and you blast it. Remind me, this is the Witch Bolt spell, correct?
Yes. So just feeding more energy into it, and you see this like crackling pulse.
Beautiful. Yeah, it twitches erratically, and it's at the back of the room after it fled from Alina's spell. It twitches erratically and seems to want to fight it, and fully starts banging its own head against the brick wall as if to try to escape or try to get it to stop. Just useless against this attack in the moment.
I will have to travel forward a little bit to maintain the connection, but because I, gotta keep within 30 feet or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Move forward a bit, maintain the connection. And that's the end of your turn?
Yep.
Wonderful. Sage, you are up next.
Okay, so would it take any sort of action economy or anything for Sage to make some kind of insight check, see if I'm picking up on the fact that this is undead, as you mentioned in the narrative? I don't know if Sage would be aware of that.
Just to give, I'll do it this way. If you want to just do, like, for a free action, just a quick glance, it'll be a higher DC to beat. If you really want to take a look, it'll cost, I'll say, just a bonus action to do so.
Cool.
Because we're kind here.
I'll just do the free action version of it, if that's all right.
Yeah.
What am I going to be rolling here?
Yeah, if you want to just roll, let's say insight.
Okay, I'm a lot worse at that. I was hoping you'd say a different skill, but I was the one who suggested it, so. Okay,
yeah,
that's
we'll go with what you said.
15 plus 1 for a 16, actually.
16. With the 16, just the quick, in the heat of battle, the quick glance that you're allowing yourself to take at it, you believe to your knowledge, that this is some sort of undead creature, though not in the most traditional way. It gives you undead vibes, essentially, but there's just something else nagging at you that you can't quite put a finger on.
No biologically living creature would be able to survive having rock-hard crystal shards growing out of it. That is what I'm getting here. And that is the way Sage would view it, is like, biologically, this thing shouldn't be alive. So it has to be something unnatural, something that is outside. It's not a beast. This is no longer a beast. This is something else. So what I am going to do, and I'm going to check and see with my vanilla human 30 feet of movement. Do I have enough move? I do. Perfect. So I am going to come out from behind these crates where I got those vials of antidote. Come over, hand off one to Kuvos, just a few feet away from me here. I don't know for sure that this is the antitoxin, but most likely it is. Hand him a vial object interaction, if that's okay, G?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
and
easy
then
to just pass it off.
Unfortunately, Suda is too far away for me to reach. That was my plan, was to do this for Suda, unfortunately. But instead, I am going to run up to Carrie as well. I already used my object interaction to hand off a vial, so I can't fully do that for Carrie, correct? Just for flavor, I start like digging through, and I think I just accidentally hand you one that's actually empty or something, but as our hands touch, you see that shimmer of Sage's arcane ward that is always around her. As I try to stumble and handing off this vial in the heat of the moment, some of that transfers to Carrie. I am casting protection from evil and good on Carrie here. And you feel as this protection extends to you, it's almost that like heart rate increasing, like you stayed up all night and you're so alert. You've drank too much coffee in the morning. You're anxious for this exam you stayed up all night for, but it's that alertness, that preparedness hits you as this protection overcomes you. And unfortunately, I have no more movement to retreat, so I am just going to be a wizard out in the open at the end of my turn.
Yeah, dangerous game. Kuvos, you are up next.
Alrighty. So now Kuvos is gonna, like, look at the vial, look at the creature, and think, there's not enough time for this. I will drink this later. I'm not going to put myself in this situation while I'm in the middle of a fight.
Smart boy.
Store it away. And he is going to, seeing that this thing has moved back, just step up just a little bit so that he's just within range to do this. And he is going to go ahead and cast Frostbite.
Okay.
So again, pulling water from that water skin is essentially going to blow on it and create like these almost like tooth-like frozen shards that are going to shoot out at the creature. That's going to be a con save.
Yeah, absolutely. Stats here. Okay. That's a natural 20.
Damn it! Okay, so then he takes nothing. So then the frozen shards, instead of clinging to him, would just bounce right off.
Yep. Okay. Is that all from Kuvos?
Yes, that is my turn for now. Though he would nod a quick, like, acknowledgement to Sage as that bottle was passed and, like, thank her for it. He is going to glance back at the children real quick just to make sure they haven't run off.
They are cowering on the stairs currently. The like older brother is like has his younger sister behind him, and they seem conflicted whether to run away or not. Right now they're just kind of frozen on the stairs halfway down them.
Okay.
But they're still there for now.
Got it. So he's going to keep like one like corner of his eye on those kids, because if they bolt, he's going right after them. Gotcha.
Okay. Wonderful. At the end of Kuvos' turn, we return to the mutants. You see, it as it bangs its head up against the wall, all of these effects on it harming it and making it flee. It finally stops and shakes its body around and just claws deep into the wooden floor, pulling chunks out of it. And you hear it sniffing loudly as it swings its head around, its one gruesome eye peeking out of the metal helm. As it locks onto the ones closest to it, lowers its head like a battering ram, and charges forward.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Suda, you are unfortunately the one directly in its path and closest. So let's see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet of movement. Yep. So yeah, it is just going to charge you with like a battering ram.
I will throw up shield.
Lucky Suda, with a nat 1 on its attack.
Okay, good. I was
Smack it down into the grass.
Oh.
Oh no, healing! No, we don't have any.
Don't have any healers.
I'll let you, if you have anything fun in mind for how you dodge this creature charging you like a bull.
Going to use that electrical tether like a lasso to wrap it around its head, and it becomes almost tangible before yanking it down and driving its snout into the ground at my feet.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. You see its apparent anger and just desire to attack, to rip apart, to bash, just grows as you avoid this charging attack it was trying to make. The crystal clusters that go down its like front legs seem to glow and pulse as it once again claws into the ground a bit. And it's gonna make an extra little special attack.
Special.
Oh, I'm about to get poisoned.
Does it have to do that? You don't have to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now it's a cornered wild animal, and it's gonna do stuff.
I guess.
Okay. Hey, does a 23 hit you, Suda?
Oh, yes, it does.
Actually, with silvery barbs, it doesn't.
Oh!
Snap!
Okay.
So-
No, okay. It'll roll again. Clutch. Oh no, that's better.
No! I'm sorry, Suda, I tried.
Yeah, you try.
Thank you for trying.
Who's got the advantage from silvery barbs?
So with silvery barbs, let me look at the description.
It forces them to roll disadvantage, right? Or
it
It
reroll
forces a
and-
reroll, and they have to take the worst of the two.
Okay.
Yes, and then
Somebody else gets advantage after.
Yes, I
Oh,
forgot
gotcha,
about that
gotcha.
part.
Okay.
So I'll give it to Suda.
Okay.
I think Kuvos would just kind of, in order to do the silvery barbs, like call out, seeing like the crystals start to light up as well, and just be like, "Back up if you can."
Probably a great idea to give that to Suda, because I'm gonna need you to make me a wisdom save.
So I have proficiency in wisdom saves, but my wisdom is trash. So
You have advantage.
I do. And I'm definitely going to need it on that first roll. Oh. So my first roll was a 4.
Uh-oh.
My second was a natural 1.
Oh!
Stop it.
So I have to go with the better of the two and give you a 5.
Roll 46 6 times and drop the lowest. No.
Ugh.
So, no, don't do that.
I think I've got a whole thing of D6s around here somewhere.
So,
I have spare the dying.
first things first, you are going to take 8 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
With that failed wisdom save,
Woof.
as the crystalline claws connect with your flesh, tear it open, your own blood sprays against the wall. For a moment, it is like you're somewhere else, almost. It is dark it is cold, and you hear a chilling sound that echoes loudly and harshly, and it goes... Suda, you are stunned.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. That's it for the rodent. Caradwin, you're up next.
Okay, well, seeing all of that nonsense happen, that can't keep happening. So I am going to run forward the 15 or so feet, sort of vaulting over this low crate right in front of me. I think simultaneously sort of gesturing at Sage, like a sort of stay back, stay behind me kind of vibe. You're too soft for this. Don't. Vault forward the 15 feet, right up in this thing's face, next to Suda. Yeah, swinging with the sword again. A 21 to hit.
Absolutely.
And then 11 plus 1 plus 5, 16. No, I lied. I can't do math. 14 points of damage.
Caradwin, how do you want to do this?
Yes! Just love killing stuff. It's what she's good at, Like, you have the few joys in life.
Yeah.
So I think seeing this, like, terrifying, like, charge, the attack on Suda, recognizing that Suda is, like, incapacitated to a degree, we're not having this, not today. So it's that vaulting, sort of 15 feet forward, and for flavor, we're gonna say Carrie sort of jumps a little bit at the air and just drives her sword straight down through the creature's head, pitting it to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. You quickly jump into action. This metal skull that encases it gets in the way, but you know how to find weak points. You angle your sword to go underneath the metal structure and up into its skull, and you drive through like its lower jaw, neck area, so you pin it right into the ground. You see it struggles and twitches and squirms and fights as you drive the sword in, but quickly it does fall still. And the night is once again silent here in Rot to Throw as you slay this creature. Suda, the stun only lasted for a round, so after a few seconds, you do regain yourself and you are back here in the warehouse, once again fully aware.
Once I've seen that it is safe, like the creature is no longer moving, I am running up and like digging through my bag trying to find like some kind of herb to smelling salts, but seeing Suda like I'm imagining like blinking out of it or something like that.
Yeah, blinking out of it, though there is a lot of blood that is rushing from a head wound from that first attack.
Mm-hmm.
Now her leg is torn to shreds. So she is a bloody mess otherwise.
Yeah, I think first things first, how much of this presumed antitoxin was I able to get?
Oh goodness, I can't remember. Someone will remind me when we listen to the past one. It was only a couple.
I think we never established a number of vials or anything, just a bunch.
A
couple big ones or something like that.
There were a fair amount on like the alchemy table, but I think you only had time to grab a few.
Okay. Regardless of whether I know that anybody was affected by the smoke earlier, everybody needs to take some of this precaution. We don't know if that thing could spread it through more than just the gas. Handing it out, and going about doing my usual, probably checking the head wound, wiping away some blood, seeing if it might need immediate care or if it's just bleeding a lot because it's a head wound. That
Sage,
kind of
as you hand it out, you hear back at the stairs where the siblings retreated, you hear the younger sister's voice go like, wait, no, don't, it's, you have to do it and then her older brother seems to shush her for a moment, go like, just wait, let me handle this, just hold on.
No, let her keep talking.
No, listen. Some of you are poisoned, it sounds like.
I'm assuming that was your doing?
Are you here to kill us or turn us in?
We're here to figure out what happened and how to fix it.
It's not just some of us, it's some of the city. You did that.
Yes.
So what were you going to say about this antitoxin? Because I don't have time to analyze it. What's going on? What were you going to say?
Vanek glances over his shoulder at his younger sister, who's just looking up at him, very clearly taking his cue on things, and still keeping her right behind him, looks back at all of you, not aggressive in his stance, but standing as firm as he can, as like just a young teenager against all of these scary adults, essentially. And he kind of sets his jaw a bit. I need to make sure that once we give it to you, you're not just going to turn around and put us in chains or put a sword through our hearts.
I think at that, Caradwin will walk towards them, not putting their weapon away, still very much holding a very bloody sword, but will crouch or kneel to kind of get down a little bit to eye level and just say, "Do you know what I am?" And I'll sort of show them the embroidery on my sleeves.
Takes a long look and doesn't respond. He just nods.
Help us. And this will not continue to be a problem for you. And I will put my sword away.
Roll me persuasion with advantage.
Caradwin is not very charismatic.
Don't forget you have that bardic advantage.
I do have bardic, so...
That's true, yeah.
Okay, persuasion with advantage. Okay, I'm gonna use the bardic to add to that. For a total of 12.
Not bad. Vanek glances between you and the alchemy table and Sage. He has a hand on like his younger sister's arm and has fully put her like completely behind him, and sighs a short breath and then kind of sidesteps a little bit past you, going back up the stairs since they were about halfway down, keeping Tara firmly right behind him, not turning his back to any of you in the room, inching along the wall with her behind him, sidestepping slowly and carefully towards the alchemy table. And once they get there and none of you are like right on them or right near them, only then does he kind of let Tara go, and she skitters out from behind him and goes to the alchemy table. You see she takes some of the bottles that you had retrieved, Sage, that you assumed were the antidotes, and she kind of begins to explain as she begins to mix some of the bottles together. We didn't want people to, come in and just take what they wanted, and we needed a failsafe, so they were, put into separate bottles. You have to mix them together, otherwise the antidote works more of an amplifier. So I didn't want you to take it before we prepared it correctly. Here. And she finishes mixing them together. Vanek, who's just not mean mugging everyone, just watching everyone carefully while his sister does the mixing. She finishes mixing them all together and glances back up as she prepares a couple. Did everyone need one?
I think only
Unless anybody was exposed during that.
Did I get exposed or was...
No, you feel fine, other than just the gaping wounds that have been caused.
Okay.
You don't feel any poison.
All right.
Elena's kind of been sitting on the or leaning against some of the crates that she had been by earlier, and kind of headachy a little bit out of it. If this is from earlier, I may need some.
Okay. And Tara quickly rushes around the alchemy table before Vanek can be like, wait, no, and he kind of reaches out to stop her, but just kind of lets her go when she gets out of his reach, because she just rushes towards you guys to administer the bottle herself. So she goes to each of you who raise your hand and identify yourselves as being poisoned. She hands you the prepared bottle and explains, just have a seat, drink it, and let it work. It's in 15, 20 minutes or so, you should start to feel better. It takes a minute, so just rest for a while. He gives it to each of you.
You're very good at this. You're very smart, and thank you. I find it hard to believe that you let yourself get tangled up in this when you're good at this. Most kids your age wouldn't be able to figure this out. I have so many questions.
While Sage is pestering them with questions, Suda is notably just sitting on one of the boxes, gently dabbing away the blood and putting pressure on the wound to keep it nice and closed. But there's anyone insightful would notice that she's holding herself differently, a little more upright, not slouching as much.
Could Olwyn, while like they were sort of explaining how like the antitoxin is being made, could he have been like taking notes in his journal and writing it in an unknown language that is unreadable to most people?
Yeah, absolutely. You take note.
And he will also like raise his hand to like ask for one of the potions, not to take it, but to like keep it.
Just to have.
As he's doing that, you see like the roots that are growing out of his hand from like the spell earlier that he didn't end up releasing. He bites on it, rips it out of his hand, and eats it.
Tara's a little disturbed. She's like a little, okay, and just hands it off and quickly runs back.
I am like very much making Tara show me exactly how this is done, exactly what ingredients are going into it, with the intention of we need to make a lot of this. And also like I am very impressed with this child, but also like you could have not done this. You could have not. You were so smart. Just like very sternly, like, okay, then what? And also, where did you find this thing in the first place? As we're working, I think once Sage has seen it done once, she is now jumping in to start making some herself.
Yeah. As Tara returns to the alchemy table and you're like following her with all these questions and stuff, Vanek fully doesn't make contact with you, but fully puts a hand out and lets her pass and go behind the table, but fully puts a hand out and just like chill kind of, without saying anything. And then looks over at her and mutters something under his breath. I know Caradwin speaks Elvish, or does anyone else speak Elven in the party? Alina,
Kuvos.
Caradwin, Kuvos. Okay, yeah. You three understand him as he speaks to her in a low tone. Look, just hand me the instructions, hand me the 2 bottles, we'll hand it off. We can't waste any more time here, okay? We need to fall back. And she is nodding to him, responding in Elvish as well. I know, let me grab them and she can take them, and then... I don't know, we need to go find Ozit still. I don't know where he went. And after that quiet exchange, you see Tara glancing over at Sage, quietly takes the 2 bottles that she combined to make the antidote, and then digs in a little like side bag that she has and takes a crumpled piece of parchment, hands the 2 bottles and basically the recipe to you. Passes those 3 to you. Passes them to Vanek, who then hands them to you, very much using him as the border between. She's very uncomfortable with the pestering, you can tell, and is just putting her brother between them as a wall.
What is the specific ingredient that came from that creature? Is it something we can still get with it not alive?
Yeah. As you look over the instructions, you quickly gather that they were drawing blood from this creature to use as a potent alchemy ingredient. You have to assume they saw the poisonous capabilities it had and decided to use it for themselves, but were also able to engineer an antidote from the same poison they created.
Got it. If we're needing to produce enough of this to cure an entire part of the city that was exposed to it, if we were to need to find another one of these, where the fuck did you find this thing? What is it? You probably don't know what it is, but how did this happen?
The two siblings exchange a long, quiet glance, saying nothing, just kind of looking at each other for a moment before looking back at all of you. Are you arresting or killing us, or what? What's happening?
Not unless we have to. Where did you find it?
And what makes you have to?
I will just draw my sword and I will not answer or move. But these are children who are not helping us.
No. I'm not gonna... Do I look like a fucking guard to you?
Do I look like a guard to you?
Do I look like a guard to you?
Alright, here, listen. Why don't we have a little exchange? Would that make you feel a little better?
Vanek looks around the room and flicks his head towards the chains that originally held the creature that now lie beyond where its dead body lies. And you see there seem to be like some just random supplies kind of scattered about, including what looks to be like a heavy leather satchel that was discarded next to the chains. He flicks his head towards it and looks to you, Olwen. Pass me my bag and let us go downstairs. I'll tell you where it came from, and then we're going to leave.
I'm assuming at this point the antidote has started to take effect, so less headachy now. Kind of, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Your mind clears, you can think.
Kind of calls out, we may know where Ozit went. You want to find him, right? How do you think we found you?
It's not May. Ozit sent us to help you. And everybody else who's been exposed to this because of what you've done. But we're not guards. We're not here about that, to do that. We're here to solve the problem you caused. And arresting and killing does not solve the problem.
Well, sometimes killing can solve the problem.
Not this one.
Certainly, it solved this problem. He says, pointing to the giant rodent.
Yes, but not this one, gesturing my hands at both of them. So let's go downstairs if that's where you want to go, but we need to know.
Olwen, do you bring Vanek his bag?
Olwen will pick up the bag.
Well, Caradwin will move towards the stairs. Like, oh, if we're gonna go down, I'm leading the way.
Yeah.
There will be a sword between the kids and the door.
When Olwen goes to like pick up the bag and move towards the kids, he is going to say in like a low. We're in a very like cramped attic, so I'm hoping the party doesn't hear this. But if they do, like, I guess it's fine. He's gonna whisper, you really should listen to your friend Ozit a little more. I think that he's a lot smarter than the two of you give him credit for.
Oh, he absolutely is. We're just a lot more desperate than he is.
Mm-hmm. And what if you didn't have to be?
Please, I don't want to join any fucking religion or any organization or any cult. Whatever you're about to pitch to me, I don't need a god in my life. I'm completely fine without it.
No, fuck the gods. Fuck organizations. You really think that's what I'm
honestly,
here for?
Yes. That's how most of those conversations start. What if you don't have to be desperate? There's a better way in life. Come join my convents.
Nah. Now listen, if you managed to kill that sovereign, that would have been fucking amazing, to be honest with you. But you didn't.
Yeah.
But, who wants to work for any of these assholes that don't give a shit about you, right?
The whole thing was rotten from the start. We should have listened to Ozit. We really should have. He glances back at Tara and then glances back at you, Olwen. And you, now that you're out of the heat of the battle, talking to these two, you take in a bit more of the situation. Just Tara's tired face, her sunken in eyes. She just She looks worn down. She looks weak. And, they're scrappy street orphans. Of course they seem that way. It's worse for her, in a way. You can't put your finger on exactly what, but she's just not in good shape overall. And Vanek, kind of putting his bag over his shoulder, continuing to speak to you in a low voice. She's just running out of time, is all. And there's very little things that can happen quickly.
What's wrong with her?
A number of things. She's weak constitution, I suppose. It'll be fine. Point is...
Hey, hold on a second. Alright. After all of this, I may have tipped your friend Ozit off to something that may help. It's a chance, I ain't promising you anything. But listen to him and see what he has to say. Make a decision after that. You might just get out of this.
Yeah, I think we need to go track him down and, see what is left for us to salvage of this whole situation.
Is Tara, who's Tara with, or she just kind of following along behind?
She's sticking with her brother. She's like glued to his side. So wherever he is, she is. The two, continue downstairs, follow the party. They seem very casual about it. They're not as on edge since you guys didn't immediately try to stop them or kill them, but they're still cautious. They sort of settle down. You see Vanek takes Tara's arm and kind of has her sit down on the nearby crates and stands close beside her as he starts digging around in his bag that Olwen handed him. And he begins to explain. So, there's this extremely strange academic man. He's come through Sears Morning a few times. This is the only time he's brought something with him. He's some fancy noble from further south, I think. He's always talking about some expedition, some new venture of his for great academic discovery, leading the Empire into the future, that sort of thing. He had a caravan with him recently, and, well, me and Tara went to check it out, see if there was anything worth trying to take. And, well, we found the Firestarter, he says, motioning upstairs towards what you can assume is the dead rodent. I don't know if that's what he called it, but that's what we called it. Which I have to say, I'm glad you avoided that. That cloud thing that it dispersed, it was gonna explode. So, it's, ignites things like that. It's a extremely strange creature. But when we found it, it was the size of a small cat. It was the size of a normal animal. It grew, I don't even know how, in a matter of days, into that. We harvested the bloods.
Did you feed it?
No. We gave it nothing. We took blood from it. We made the poison when it was still small, and they just kept getting bigger. We didn't want to release it. We didn't know if we got too close and tried to put it down, it just swiped out at us. So we just managed to get chains and tried to keep it contained. We were trying to figure out what to do with it when you got here. I don't know where it came from. Whoever the academic was, talking about his venture, I have to assume he brought it back from wherever he's been.
Can you tell me about this academic?
Yeah.
Elena kind of stands up and gets closer. Describe him. Do you remember what house he was from? What sigil he was wearing?
I don't know which house. He was a taller man, kind of skinny, lanky. He had tanned, like darker tanned skin, and obviously very fancy, like facial hair, dark hair, longer hair, and dark eye. One eye was blinded. It looked like it was white. Alina,
Mm-hmm.
as he describes this individual, you know exactly who this is.
Gonna say. Yeah, who is it?
You know exactly who this is. He is describing Leto of House Talcaster.
Okay, now I need to look at my notes and remember. That's one of my... Right? Like, I
Mhm.
know him. Yeah, I know him.
You know him.
Like,
You know he's a very eccentric, he's an academic in the way that in the modern day, he would stand on the corner and wave signs about the end of the world.
yeah.
He's an interesting individual, and you are unsure which venture they could be referring to, but whatever it is, it seems to be his new passion project.
Okay, and I don't know of him being in town recently, anything, or like does their thing that he's been coming in and out of town, is that something that I know about, or is this like uh
Do you ask them?
no, this is just more me. Like, did I hear about him being in town on roughly these same times that they're talking about, or like was he being secret about it?
Kind of collaborating with the siblings, asking about like timeline stuff. You did hear about briefly him being in town for short stints of time, on the same dates. This most recent time that he came in carrying this Firestarter, they've named it, you did not hear about that arrival.
Got it.
And it sounds like he came into town a week or so ago.
Got it. I'm assuming I know where he usually stays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He has a little estate in the upper city that he
Mhm.
because his house is friends with Shroudmore, so they stay comfortably in their territory.
Got it. So I'll share a fair amount of this with the group. I actually know him. Duke Leto Tallcaster. He's not from Seer's Morning, but he comes in a fair amount. I don't know if he's in town now, but if he is, I know where he'd be.
I'm more interested in where he's been. I know that Magda's mentioned some monstrosities, giants emerging from the sea up north. But he's from Understone. I wonder if it was from there or something of the sort where he found it. That's what I want to know.
I'm not sure. Leto, he goes everywhere, and he's fascinated with everything in the old world. I don't know. But we might need to look him up.
Well, first measure of business is we need to
Cure everyone?
I don't have connections to get this distributed, but we should try to make as much of it as we can.
I might.
I do.
Everybody
What?
looks at
Oh.
Olwen.
Like, you know people?
Yes, I know people. Of course I do.
Well, then who are your contacts?
I know some people from the Crafters Division. If you can bring them the recipe, the antidote, then they have plenty of people there that could probably make something like this.
Teva, I want you to stay with me and make as much of this as we can before you and your brother leave. You'll help me get the blood. You'll help me make as much as we can. If we need more herbs and such, we can get them.
She looks over to Vanek, who just kind of laughs while shaking his head. No. You have the recipe. You have the supplies you need. Everything that we used is upstairs. Take what you want. We're not coming back here. It's all yours. We're leaving. She's not staying.
Owen will move towards Sage and very quietly say, actually, there might be another reason why you should have them stay here. I don't think the girl's well. You seem at least somewhat trained medically. You should take a look.
Can I make, like, my passive medicine skill is a 13, if that's a thing that exists, I guess. Just at a quick glance, can I, like, see that she's, like, pale or whatever?
Yeah, just looking her over, you just see she doesn't seem well.
If you leave right now, you're not getting very far. If you leave when there's more going on, when the maze has opened up, when people are getting this antidote, it's going to be easier to sneak out without being noticed.
I could appreciate the concern, but I will worry about my family. The best thing for us right now is to get out of Seer's Morning. We have enough time to help her, but we can't help if guards show up and drive swords through us. That's not very healthy, believe it or not. So I'm going to try and avoid that. We will seek aid elsewhere.
Gee, real quick. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, Kuvos, who's kind of been watching this whole thing, he's trying to figure out, like, who he kind of needs to back up here. Can I just make a quick insight check for him to see if he can tell, like, how dead set Vanek is on, like, we need to go now versus whether or not he can be persuaded?
Yes, you can insight him.
That's an 18.
18. With an 18, you see an older sibling who has taken over care of the only family he has completely. And in his eyes, he holds more fear of the city than he does anything to do with his younger sister. He is very stubborn in their next course of action. And I know you're focusing on Vanek, but it was a pretty good insight, so I'll carry it over to Tara. While of course seeming tired and kind of sickly, has some, just general concern on her face just for their situation, holds confidence in her brother's actions. She is looking to him for guidance and feels secure in the decisions that he makes for the both of them. They are on each other's side, and their eyes are set for the road.
Perfect. In that case, he's going to kind of move up and stand by Sage and just look at her. I can help. It's probably best to just let them find their way out.
Oh, in what direction did you send their friend in? Let's make sure they go in the same direction. He's going to find some sort of work outside of the city. He's going to find a way to hide. If you're with him, I guarantee you show your skill to an herbalist, you show your skill to a pharmaceutical shop of some sort, find a way to get in there. You have a talent for it. And there's no reason it should have been being used for poisons.
Yeah, we'll certainly try that next. Maybe the honest route will actually work out for us for once.
You're better at it than I was at your age, and I had professional training, so...
Maybe your teachers were just shit.
Oh, no, he was the best. Don't fucking say that.
Okay.
No, your friend went that way.
Yeah, you give him directions, you point him in the same direction as Ozit, easy enough. Anything else for the two siblings as they are like getting up and preparing to depart?
At a point in which Suda believes that they are about to leave and semi-separate from the others, is going to intercept. Kind of lower down on her haunches and hold up a pouch of coin. And very quietly say to the both of them, your trust and your care for each other is admirable and reminds me of my own sister. But do not let hard-headedness rush you into things that are even more dangerous than what is behind you. But take this, that it may see you safely on your way.
Yeah, thank you. I know it... I appreciate your assistance, and we didn't want things to turn out like this, believe it or not. We're just desperate as anyone else is.
I know that desperation. I simply ask that you look out for each other and think before you act.
Yeah. Tayra kind of pipes up a little bit, kind of peeking around her brother, kind of taps his shoulder and kind of whispers a little bit, just enough so you three in your little huddle over here can kind of hear. Vanek, we needed to get rid of the wagon anyways. Why don't we just pass it off now? And Vanek considers what she said and nods along. Right. I don't like taking charity. It feels like blech. But so we'll do it this way to make it an even trade. It was too easily spotted, too conspicuous anyways, so easy to get rid of it this way. He looks to Tayra, who fishes like a bronze keyring from her bag, with 3 identical bronze keys on it, and she holds it out to you. And she explains in her like soft, quiet voice, It's something we got from our guardians before they passed. But at this point, it's just too much to maintain, and like we said, it's too easily spotted, especially for 2 of us trying to be on the down low. It's called the Moon Molten Vardo. It's parked over by the stables on the southern end of the lower city. I think you and your friends would like it. It's nice to travel in.
This is a fair trade, and we will take this burden off of you. Thank you.
Caradon's probably been, it's like one eye on the kiddos and one eye on the nearest, door, window. We are keeping an awareness of the situation. Can I make a perception check to see if I clock that Suda seems a little different?
How quiet are you trying to be?
Sage went upstairs and is currently harvesting blood, so she did not witness any of this because she was like, all right, to work.
I would also say, like, maybe not actively looking, but passive perception of 15. Curious if Elena also notices, especially given that earlier she had that mental heard the 2 voices thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, how stealthy are you trying to be?
Vocally, yeah, she's trying to keep her voice low so that she doesn't get overheard. But there are other visual clues that could tip somebody off. The posture, she moves with, despite the limp from the wound, she does move with a little bit more, dare I say it, noble grace or practiced grace. And the biggest tell, if anybody was paying attention, her eyes have flipped.
Yeah, I'd love to roll an active perception check on this.
God, I wish I didn't make the intentional decision to make Sage kind of oblivious.
I'll go ahead and roll for perception, Caradwin, and I will, if you want to roll for stealth, or if you just want to see what the perception is.
Well, my passive stealth, I guess, could be 13.
Yeah.
I got a 23 perception.
I will say, in Winter's favor, I think this might be more passive deception than stealth.
Ooh. Well, even then, it's still 14.
Yeah. I think with that, you do all the tells that Winter has mentioned. Caradwin definitely clocks. You're very perceptive. You're very aware of your surroundings and the people that you keep company with. Not a lot slips by you, and this certainly does not.
Something funky going on. Not saying anything. Just sort of, again, just internalizing that knowledge. There is something much larger and deeper at play here with this person that I met within the last 12 hours.
Mm-hmm. As you clock that, and the siblings have this exchange of gold and keys, and they exit out the front door, and Suda, I say with quotation marks, as you're watching them leave, there's like a ringing in your ears. Something. The wounds sustained from the Firestarter upstairs. They tingle, the ringing in your ears, and there's a bit of bile at the back of your throat. It's foggy, your brain is, but there's something wrong about this. But whether it's a mercy or just brings more questions, the feeling goes away quickly.
Kind of an internal insight check, checking in with Suda. Is she any more aware of what's going on internally?
I'll say this is no role required. It's kind of checking in on yourselves. Suda kind of got a little bit of the same sense, not near as intense. It is extreme now than it was before. It is worse.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the siblings have departed. Suda, quote unquote, has received these keys for something they called the Moon Molten Vardo. And you are all left with the antidote, or at least the ingredients to the antidote upstairs. Olwyn, you said you wanted to put word out to have the crafters division begin to kind of disperse as needed, correct?
Yes, he wanted to make a deal with them, if that would be at all possible at this current point in time.
I was gonna say, if anybody does come upstairs to help, I did say Sage would be like harvesting the blood. She's more standing there and staring and going, I usually don't do this part myself.
Owen, who has a similar tool proficiency, will happily do the blood stuff.
Yeah, she's very much standing there like, I don't know how to butcher, let alone drain, let alone, like, she buys her herbalism supplies off his shelf, so...
Bloodletting not in your repertoire?
No, very much not so.
I think Owen goes upstairs, sees you staring at it, and goes to the body and just begins, like, a little too well, begin to, like, just disassemble this creature.
Very grateful, goes and starts grinding up other ingredients and stuff. She is trained in pharmacy and not in actual, like, medicine, surgical doctor stuff, so...
Yeah. Two quick things. Olwen, easy enough to contact your contact within the crafters division and kind of get the word out. You will have to probably get to a less isolated area. Rot Tooth Row, there's not really a lot of resources to reach out to at this time of night. So kind of going back to the main section of the Rat's Maze, you'll have to get someone to send a letter out just to contact people and get the ball rolling. But that should be easy enough to do to get the word out overnight. And by tomorrow, you expect that, actions will begin to be taken. So you guys can kind of dust your hands off of this portion of things for now. So you know that, like, you guys will have to, like, retreat to, like, an inn or a shop or something. You can get the word out and that'll work out. And then the body is there as well. I know you guys are, like, bloodletting it, but if there's any investigation to be done,
Yeah, would
feel
love
free.
to do some intelligence-related checks. I'm also curious
Yeah.
about where this thing came from. I just don't know how to disassemble it, so...
Yeah, of course. I'll have you roll in just a sec, Olwen, if there's anything else.
Oh, I was gonna ask, if I am, like, bringing this information to the crafters division, Owen typically does not trade for, like, money or anything like that. Is there any way that I could, like, negotiate to trade for the usual things I ask about?
Yeah, absolutely. Bonnie, your gal in the crafters division, there's like little rewards and stuff, like almost like finder's fees almost, that can be handed out. You kind of feel a headache coming on already because you know exactly what she's going to say, which is, okay, so you have to go and fill out this form and then turn it into this person, and then I'm going to go get it verified, and then we'll turn it in, and then within a few business days, I will make sure the payment gets ahead to you. So you absolutely can. She's just going to be a headache about it.
Okay. Like, in the letter, he's going to write the same, like, thing that he always does, which is, for the finder's fee, I don't care about the coin or anything like that. I want the usual thing. Do you have any information on the things I'm looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can easily prepare that letter and send it off later tonight as soon as you find a suitable courier. And that should happen somewhat quickly. But yeah, Sage, are you the only one investigating the body? Are the rest of you going upstairs to join?
I think
and
afterwards
assist?
Kuvos would, though his passive perception is 14. I think he would have... I don't know if that would have been enough to clock all of the posture changes and everything in Suda, just kind of... Suda, in quotes, as he's sort of heading up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And relationally, Suda, without saying much, is going to try and slip out to go find this Moon Molten Bardo.
Yeah, absolutely. They gave you directions to, like, the stables that it's in. It's a little bit outside of Rottooth Row, but still within the Rat's Maze.
Okay.
So you can definitely go check it out.
I think Cardwin...
Are you doing so, like, secretly? Like, you don't want anyone else to come
I figured
with? Or...
since they were going to spend some time doing some investigation and maybe getting the ingredients that they need for these things, she was going to go investigate this wagon and then come back and be able to report it.
I was going to say, as Kuvos kind of goes up to join Sage and Olwen, he kind of, like, shakes off that, like, just seeing the posture change, he almost, like, sees his friend a little more in Suda and is like, God, she told you that it's not her. You gotta shake it off. And then goes upstairs.
Kubos just gaslighting himself.
I know, and I feel so bad about it.
Yeah. Suda doesn't have to do anything. Kubos will gaslight himself.
But I think Cardwin will follow Suda out the door, having seen a little bit of that exchange, but also I'm much more familiar with the Rat's Maze than anyone else here, and I am not going to be terribly useful upstairs. The thing is dead. I did what I'm supposed to do.
You solved that problem.
You did your part.
Not
Yeah.
sneakily following, but just not also trying to be like buddy walking right next to you. But
Just, like, quietly, no words exchanged. Like, hey, I'm walking with you, essentially. Yeah. Alina.
Similarly, actually, like, as they're going up, she's been kind of keeping a little bit separate, other than when we were talking about Leto and that kind of thing, right? And just a little bit, like, deep thoughts going on, multiple threads of thoughts happening at once kinds of things. But as she sees Suda start to leave and then Carrie follow, she kind of looks upstairs for a second and then just shakes her head and kind of follows Carrie out close enough that if, like, something happened, like, close enough that they are together, but again, not implying that there needs to be conversation or something in a, like, we are walking in the same space and
Yeah. You guys aren't walking around with your arms linked, skipping along the road.
right, but like there's a certain amount of like, I am still in very fancy noble clothes in the middle of the rat's nest and this a rat's maze, and this is perhaps not, I should not be wandering by myself. So yeah, a little bit of like, let's just make sure it's very clear that I am with these dangerous looking people.
Yeah. Smart move for Alina. Yeah. Okay, yeah, wonderful. So the party splits up. We have Olwen, Kuvos, and Sage upstairs investigating the creature, and we have Alina, Suda, and Caradwin setting out into the night to look for this aforementioned wagon. We will go ahead and start with our party going down the streets. So you all depart from the warehouse and make your way through Route 2 Throw. It's not a huge section of the Rat's Maze, so it's easy enough to exit. Going off the directions Suda received from the siblings, you give that to Caradwin, who is able to lead the way down south through the city. Still within the Rat's Maze, as I said, you come upon a large enough set of stables where many people are leaving wagons and horses and various mounts and vehicles to be looked after during their time in the city. You see it is fairly somewhat well protected. There's not like massive fences or anything, but there is one like heavy set looking guy just standing outside the stables, watching everyone pass by, kind of smoking on a pipe, just keeping an eye out, looking after his charge of the stables. Looks up as you all approach and just kind of cocks his head to the side as he observes you ain't seem to got a vehicle or mount I seem to hear picking up.
Anytime that, quote, Suda has to speak, because she is very pointedly trying not to, and keeping her words at a minimum. She's very aware that she sounds different. So even when she does speak, there is a false gravel that she puts to her voice to try and mask it. Yes, we are picking up a wagon.
I might say taking a look at it more than picking up. We're not ready to move yet, but and Alina is drawing herself to her full height kind of thing in this moment. It is the Moon Molten Vardo. They have the keys. She points to Suda.
Right. The fancy one. Okay. Yeah. Follow me. He turns and opens the gates for like the stables area, walks past some various stalls and various wagons, and leads you towards this hard-top Vardo wagon that doesn't have any mounts attached, that seems to have been parked there for a little while. There's a little bit of vines kind of growing up through the spokes of its wheels. So it's been parked there for a while. It doesn't seem it's had any way to move for a bit. But it is, though very worn down and old, a very beautiful vehicle. It is painted a deep red that's kind of maybe chipped and faded away from the sun a little bit, with intricate paintings and detailings around the windows, carved windowsills. There's a little door on the side with steps that you can seem to pull out to ascend up inside. There are 4 hooks, one on each corner, but only 2 of them hold lanterns that are not currently lit. It is a beautiful wagon that seems to have been out of commission for a while, and you can definitely see that it is definitely not, like gold-plated fancy that some noble people use, but it's more of a beautiful antique. And you can see why the siblings didn't want to bring it with them if they were trying to stay inconspicuous. It does stand out a bit. But the keys are in your hand and the wagon is in front of you. The attendant leaves you to it with a stern warning of don't fuck with anybody else's things before he departs and closes the gate behind him.
Well, before you go,
Huh?
has anybody come to visit this in any recent days?
No, just the two young ones that parked it a while ago and occasionally come back, make payments, but he just sort of sits there. It'd be nice to get us out of here, get the stall back.
Do you have mounts that we could purchase for?
Not here, we mostly store them, but I can point you in the direction if you want to get some.
If we need some once we get out of the maze, I can take care of that.
Grazie.
But you're left in front of this wagon.
Suda kind of circles it, running her hand along the walls, some of the chips of the paint popping off. As she makes her way around to the door, I imagine there's a door up into it, and was gonna try the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Sorry,
it's trapped.
It's trapped. Rocks fall, everyone dies.
Roll your new characters.
Yeah, but you reach up, you put the keys in, you unlock the door, and you open it. Are all of you going in, or?
Not yet. I think Caradwin is circling it. Probably maybe went in the opposite direction that Suda went. Looking at the outside, would love to do some kind of check if I know or can determine anything about its provenance, where this thing may have originated from, or what it was used for.
Yeah, give me a history check. And Alina, are you staying outside or going in?
I think I might take a moment to look. I'm actually kind of curious, similar to Carrie, like, is there anything that I know about this style of wagon or like how they are used in the world?
You can roll your own or give help to Caradwin if you like, whichever you prefer.
I'll roll my own.
I got a dirty 20 for my history check.
Nice,
yeah, that's much better than my 5.
Yeah,
because I rolled a 2.
Alina, don't recognize it. No, this is not a familiar build. But Caradwin, as you observe it, you take in what you know just from the different areas of the Empire and what you're seeing here on the face of this wagon. You would have to pitch a guess that it is likely from Mardeau, the center of the Empire. It has a similar build, similar structure, similar like aesthetic. It's just very well made. Mardeau holds many talented inventors and crafters, so you have to assume that someone very skilled created this. Suda, as you unlock the door and you enter, your very first thought is there's something magical to this wagon. And your second thought is this is a little bit bigger on the inside than it should be.
So we're going to call this the TARDIS. All right. Or the Tardo.
You enter. It is not extremely bigger on the inside, but it is the size of like a small studio apartment almost, about 200 or so square feet. There's a small loft with what looks like a small bed. There's like a hammock. There's a lounge area with not really chairs, but more like seating pillows. There's a tiny, tiny little cooking stove that is not currently lit. Any other amenities that you may need during an adventure. And as you open the door and enter, you see that some of the lanterns around automatically light up and cast the space with a warm, welcoming glow.
Wow. Suda, this is homey. Well, you'll see it soon enough. As she moves in and just kind of walks the perimeter of it, taking in all its features.
I will say pretty quickly, Elena, since she isn't noticing anything on the outside, she also kind of climbs up the step and sticks her head in. And
Yeah.
oh,
As you two like finish your like observations outside at whatever pace you enter, you do notice the same thing. It is a beautiful, comfortable space. Perfect size for like a couple people. Maybe your entire party fitting in there would be a little bit tight, but still comfortable, better than sleeping on the side of the road.
this is all right.
How did a couple of street rats get a wagon from Mardo?
Mm.
I'm thinking aloud. Don't mind me. This is lovely.
Suda simply nods in response.
This reminds me of my aunt's wagon.
You all have this quiet moment of just a bit of wonder. It's a nice atmosphere, and it's realizing that this was given to you in exchange for your assistance, and maybe a bit to cover their own ass, but also just there was a bit of gratitude behind this gift as well. You know that as much. And it's a lovely piece that is now in your party's possession. All it needs is something to pull it, and you have your transportation secured. With that, we are going to pop over very quickly towards our bloodletting party. It stinks, it's bloody, everything is horrible. It's so dim and hard to see.
Gross. I'm trying so hard not to show how much I actually secretly hate this. Unlike everything else that I publicly hate.
You three are all standing before it, this strange creature with strange abilities, the scent of its beginning to rot corpse assaulting your nose. And you prepare yourselves to dive into investigation of this mutant creature. And that is where we're going to end it for today. Oh boy. Thank you everyone so much for joining in and listening as we finish one of our first major fights of the campaign. They've vanquished this gruesome creature and gained a new peculiar magic item in the process, something to get them from point A to point B in fashion and comfort. We will see all of you next time. Thank you so much for listening again. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I have so many questions.